Hi, I'm Steve from the Stonecrafting Workshop. Welcome. I thought what I'd do is quickly run through the results of about a month of tumbling in my workshop. I've got 5 tumblers that run normally. I don't always run all 5 together, but usually there's 3 or 4 or 5 running. And so I have a fair amount of output. And so I thought I'd show you the results of that, about 4 or 5 weeks of tumbling. Let's first of all look at these. These are stones off of my local beach. And I've been running an experiment over the last few weeks. Not an experiment, but I've been trying out aluminium oxide as for tumbling, for grinding, for the various stages of grinding, and for the polish. And this is a batch of stones off of my beach. So they're all chalcedony. They're a mixture of kind of jaspers and agates and various other bits and pieces. And I tumbled these right the way through with aluminium oxide, from the coarse right through to the polish. Now the finest aluminium oxide powder I can get in the UK is 1200 grit, and I used that. And I found after 7 or 8 days it just wasn't polishing them. So I just bunged them on again. And what resulted was a polish on these stones that's not too bad, but it's still not a great polish. I would not be that pleased with these, but I was pleased to get something out of them. And there were some lovely stones in here. There's one here in particular. Let's see if I can put that in, which is actually just like a piece of amber glass. I don't know if you can see that, which is just a lovely little bit of stone. And there's a few other bits there. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? I think that would be called carnelian. I think it's fair enough to call that carnelian. Really, really pretty. So there's lovely stones in here, but the quality of the polish is not the best. By contrast, let me show you. Put these out of the way. I'm always trying things out, which is why I tend to get mixed results. Is these ones. And these are exactly the same. They're off my local beach, but just contrast the quality of the polish. Look at that. Absolutely brilliantly polished. And the reason is I used aluminium oxide all the way through, except for the polishing stage when I use tin oxide. I've always liked using tin oxide. I've always found it gives a great finish, and lo and behold it does. And look at some of the stones in this mix off of my local beach. It's astonishing, really. I'm so lucky. Just beautiful stones, and so many of them are translucent. Let's put that there. So many of them are translucent, at least to a certain extent. And it's not wishful thinking there. Really nice, almost dark red, translucent stones. Look at that. Beautiful. And some of these are a really nice size for making jewellery and what have you, which is my wife's interest. And I've started picking up stones accordingly. So it was an interesting comparison, doing the two polishes when as a finish. From that, I would say the difference between the aluminium oxide polish that we can get here in the UK, which is, as I say, is only 1200 grit, and tin oxide is clear that the tin oxide is far superior. But the other thing is just the lovely stones I can pick up locally. Really, really nice. And some unusual. Look at how thin that is. And it's really quite pretty. Very unusual to tumble a stone that thin. I would normally expect that to break. So I was really pleased to get that. So these are local. Oh, look at that one. Look at the pink crystal, pink quartz, sorry. Really, really lovely colour. Just gorgeous. Off of my local beach. Astonishing. So let's put these back in there and show you another contrast. You'll notice the colour variation in those. There's reds and blacks and, you know, creams and what have you. These, by contrast, came up from Dorset along what's called the Jurassic Coast, it's called. It came from a beach in Dorset. And you can see that there's not much colour. There's no jaspers at all. There's no red or yellow jaspers. And they're all sort of greys, muted greys pretty much, except for that one. That's really pretty. And I managed to get a lovely polish on them. They polished pretty easily because they are a hard stone. They're again chalcedony, agate types, but really pretty. But what a difference in terms of the colour mix. I mean, in this batch that I picked up on the beach, there's kind of one black one, which is not very black. And there's this one, which is the sort of brown and red, which is really pretty stone, just beautiful. But the rest are all pretty much greys. Isn't that odd? When I picked them up, I actually assumed they were going to be very translucent. But in actual fact, they proved not to be very. They are, but they're kind of, you know, some of them are translucent, but yeah, isn't that nice? But just not as I expected. I expected more of them to be translucent, and I just would quite like them to be a bit more. There's one there which really is nice. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? But most of them aren't. Most of them are fairly, you know, non-translucent or not enough to notice. There's one there I can't recall looking at. There's a nice sort of nutty brown one there, which I hadn't noticed before. There was one that's, again, these small stones I'm starting to appreciate more. Look at that one, black with pinks in it and greys. Just such a pretty little stone. Or it would be if it stayed on my finger. I can't even see it now. Oh, there it is. So I mustn't lose that. So going further afield isn't necessarily, you know, the bee's knees. My local are on the whole, I think, better than these, although there are some nice ones. And in fact, we did go back to Dorset and picked up a load more. I'll show you those in a minute. And this is the last batch that we came out. Again, I was trying aluminium oxide, and again the polish is not great, and some of these have actually got very poor polish on them. If you look at that, this red colour I pick up quite often on the beach, and I always know that it's not going to polish very well. I think it's just ever so fractionally softer than the other stones, and therefore it damages more easily, and you can see all around the edges the polish is, there's no polish at all. And I think I tried to polish this with, I think, with zinc oxide, but that's not to say that zinc oxide is no good. Because of these little soft stones in here, look, there's at least two, and this one is also not a very good polish, and it's a very similar sort of stone. It could be that the dust coming off of these was slightly abrasive and is degrading the polish, the ability of this tumble to polish. So it's quite interesting to see when you get failures to try and work out why, but you know, why they haven't worked out so well. But some of them are polished, you know, really well. and I suspect they're the harder stones, and some of them have not polished so well at all. That's actually quite, it's got a polish on it, but it's nothing clever. What about this one? This is a lovely stone. There we go. Really nice. Look at that. So in every batch, even though you may not think it's the best batch in the world, there's always one or two that really look great. And that one does. And there's a couple of pink ones in here. Look at this, pinky orange. Really pretty. It's a shame it didn't, you know, there's holes in one side. Still pretty pink, pale pink stones. That's another translucent one there. Very pretty. Off of my local beach. I've started picking up odd stones as well. I picked this one up because of the shape. I just think that's such a curious shape, and it polished actually quite well. Even in this side here, it's pretty even polish all the way across. This is a lovely stone. Look at the purple in colour, but it didn't polish that great. Whereas this one, which is a very dark red, almost sort of blood red, just lovely stones. So a fair mixture there. That's not unusual because I play around with things and play around with the grits and the length of time I tumble them for and so on. I get mixed results, but at least I tend to know why I've got mixed results. And out of this batch, look at that one. Look at that, lovely. Very, very nice. So I hope that gives you an idea of that, you know, if you play around with your tumbling, you're going to get mixed results, but some of it's going to be very good, and some of it might not be so good, but you will. Oh, look at the red on that. Look, is that glorious? And it's got a brilliant polish on it. It's odd the way you get a mixture of polish on stones. I'm not sure if that's normal or not. So I thought I'd show you a few things coming up over the next few weeks. Marie picked this off, my wife picked this off the beach, and it's very rough, and it's, you know, but look, the sun, you know, the light just comes straight through that. Just really nice. That's going to be really exciting to do. My wife and I pick up stones off the beach, and we each have a tub which we fill up ready for tumbling. And this is Marie's tub. She has a real passion for the pale colours. You can see she's picked up these pale stones. That's a piece of glass. Pretty sure that's a piece of sea glass. Definitely a bit of sea glass. She's good at spotting that. I'm not. And just one or two jaspers, but most of these pale colours. She loves this pale creamy pink, beige, orangey colours, but she also picks up odd ones like this stone here. I wouldn't have picked that up probably, but I'll tumble these and she'll be pleased with them. And some of them, it's like this one here, just looks like it's going to look like amber once this outside is ripped off it. And she does pick up odd ones as well, very strange stones sometimes, like this. It's a broken stone, but it's actually, you know, really interesting looking, although it won't tumble very well because of that crack, unfortunately. But I'm told to just get on with it. Do as I'm told. So that's Marie's stones that she's picked up, and they'll be tumbled in the course of the next week. She's very good at picking up translucent stones. Look at that. Look, just lovely. and she's good at picking up those. But she's affected me because she picks up these odd stones. There's another bit of sea glass, look. And there's another bit of crystal. See what I mean about her being good at picking up translucent stones? There's always a good selection in her barrel. So they're going to be tumbled over the next few weeks, or at least some of them are. And this is the ones I've collected off the beach. What happens is we go down swimming, and then as we trudge back up, freezing cold, we pick up a few stones on the way, which is a good way of doing it. And I've been trying to concentrate on translucent stones. I find they polish really well. And also, yeah, I'm always going to be drawn to the red jaspers, which I just think are lovely. Oddly, this one here looks very similar to the ones I was showing you earlier that didn't take a polish very well. It looks like the same sort of stone. And in fact, when I tumble these, after they've been through the first stage, if they still look like that, I'll take them out. But I've started picking up odder stones that I wouldn't normally pick up. Look at that one, the strange patterning in it. And I've no idea what that'll look like when it's tumbled, but that's half the fun, picking up stones that you don't know what they'll look like. The same as this one. I picked this one up because it's got a kind of blue colour on the back. Very unusual to find a blue. I suspect that'll just fade to grey or something once it's tumbled. But we'll see. Nice stripy stones. All off of my local beach. The jaspers are often rough and going to be a problem to tumble. They'll take ages. But some really lovely colours. And there's one or two that I'm really quite excited about. Look at this one here. Look at the colour in that. I wonder what that'll look like when it's done. Really, really nice. There's always something to look forward to. If you pick up stones in that way, you pick them up and you think, oh, will that look nice? And then you've just got to wait and find out. There's one here, tiny little one, which will be lovely for jewellery. Look at this. I have to hold it, it's so small. But look at that. Just lovely. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed looking at my rock tumbling month and also my rock collecting month. Oh gosh, look at that. Look at that. Look. Does that look fantastic? I could keep you here all day just showing you stones that I've picked up, and I'm really looking forward to tumbling these. And in 5 weeks' time, if you've enjoyed this particular video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you don't enjoy it, give me a thumbs down, because I don't want to make videos that irritate people or they don't want to watch. And tell me, you know, leave a comment down below about if you think I can improve it. Just lovely stones. So thanks for watching. I hope this has been of some interest to you and some use to you. And as I say, if it has, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more about rock tumbling and stonework and what have you, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.